We are licensed amateur gaming, and we're here to discuss a pretty fun game we played the other day. I'm Virgio. To my right here, which you cannot see, is Jersel.
Mm-hmm.
And out there in Nam somewhere is Spurgle.
Hello.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Not somewhere, it's Saigon.
That's right, Saigon. There's only one place he could possibly be in Nam.
As a Westerner. Yes.
As a Westerner, Saigon. A lot of memories in Saigon.
A lot of starry sunsets.
A lot of good brothels, too. We are here to discuss a little game called The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
Wait, the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, it says The Lord of the Rings,
Lord
The
of-
Return of the King.
Okay, that's a lot of those.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, published by the EA Games, rated the T for the teen.
Okay.
Live the movie, be the hero. Okay. So there are a lot of thes in this.
A lot of definite articles.
The Lord of the Rings franchise, of course, as many of you know, is a $2.7 bajillion franchise, which is currently in the throes of a potentially good, potentially god-awful remake
Most likely going to be awful.
by one Amazon Prime. So that's sort of the impetus for bringing this to you guys here. Hopefully, if you guys are thinking about seeing Lord of the Rings when it eventually comes out in 10 years post-pandemic, whenever the fuck, you guys can take a look at some other Lord of the Rings content that might have flew under the radar, such as The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King for the Xbox. The voice cast is all back to lend their voices for this game, which we thought was interesting. You'll hear more about that. This is a tie-in with the movie.
No shit.
What? The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, the movie game, is actually a tie-in to the movie,
Yeah.
even though it came out 1 month prior.
Oh my god!
It came out a month prior before the film was released, in November 2003, while the movie came out in December 2003. This was sort of part of the teaser campaign, but also sort of a spoiler, which is a very odd placement for a game, I guess, to let you play the whole movie before the movie comes out. I'm not sure if there are many other official games of movies that do that.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point. A game like this would never, ever, ever be made these days. And the reason for that is now video game development cycles have gone so overblown and over budget that the development cycles take longer than a development cycle of a movie.
Yeah.
So in order for a licensed game to come out before the movie would, they would have to tell the people that are developing the game to start making it like before pre-production. You have nothing to go off of. You don't have a script. You don't have art. But go for it,
There might be some
lads.
concepts, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, it seems that they had the script when they were making this game.
Well, they had movie clips. They knew exactly what to do.
I guess so, yeah.
Well, that's the beauty, because the reason why this was probably able to be released before the movies because they were filming all three movies simultaneously. So
That's
they
right.
had footage from Return of the King as early as 2001,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, they were doing pickup shoots, I think, at that point. Yeah, and so,
So-
they had done the movie.
Which is insane. They already had all of the
Wow.
designs done, all of the footage, the music. They had everything already in the bag. So they were able to start development. This is back when game development cycles could take as short as 8 months. So they were able to just turn this around probably within the
This
course
was a quick
of-
turnaround, easy,
Yes,
easy.
It feels like a quick turnaround. Not
Yeah.
that it's bad.
No.
Just short. Yeah, they probably started this in 2003, probably the same year.
They could have, yeah. Is this game a spoiler?
Technically.
Well, yeah, technically.
Is this whole game a spoiler in that case? I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I don't know if we can break this up into clumps here, but now that you bring it up, I mean, if this game was just released in November and then you play the whole game, which follows loosely the story of the movie, you know, obviously some of the scenes where our characters run into...
It shows the fucking end. It
Yeah.
shows the crack of doom.
It shows Doom. It shows the fight with Shelob. Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little different than what happens in the movie, but for God's sake, this shit's a spoiler.
We got to read the back of the box
Oh, yeah.
now to give people what they can come to expect.
Go ahead and read the back of the box. Let's see what we got here.
Okay.
I imagine it's going to be sucking its own dick quite a bit. Let's see.
Live the movie. Be the hero.
I thought I was going to say live the movie, be the movie.
I thought it was going to say Liv Tyler.
Live the epic adventure. Play as 9 characters, including Gandalf, Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Sam, and Frodo.
Frodo!
Everyone's favorite video game character, Frodo.
Did you know what his original name was?
No.
Bingo.
Bingo.
Bingo Baggins.
Bingo. Bingo.
Bingo Baggins!
Almost as good as a name as something George Lucas would come up with.
You think I'm bullshitting,
Sleazeball.
but
No, I believe you. I believe you.
Salacious Crumb and shit like that. Yeah,
because it's close to Bilbo.
Bingo
Yeah.
Baggins.
Bingo Baggins.
Bingo Baggins.
Battle through 15 highly interactive levels. Form your fellowship. Fight side by side in multiplayer co-op mode, which we did. Defeat the forces of evil. Confront Shelob, the king of the dead, the Witch King.
Shelob's the king of the dead?
That's right. Confront Shelob, the king of the dead. If at first you would think Shelob, the king of the dead, but no,
The
it's
spider's a
Shelob,
king of the dead. Huh?
the king of the dead, the Witch King, Sauron's lieutenant, and more. Movie exclusives.
Wait. So they do a comma there then. They said Witch King, Sauron's lieutenant, right?
The Witch King, Sauron's lieutenant. Is the Witch King Sauron's lieutenant?
Yes.
Yes.
What they're probably referring to
Oh,
is the
shit.
mouth of Sauron.
Yeah.
Which is
Not
not,
his
his lieutenant.
lieutenant,
It's
it's
his
the mouth of Sauron.
It's his emissary, his ambassador. My God, they got it incorrect. The Witch King is his lieutenant. I'm mad.
You're saying the writers of this video game fucking
It's called a box.
yeah. The writer the writers on the text of this video game box have not seen the movie or are very familiar with Lord of the Rings lore. Lore of the
Or
Rings.
they just have
Lore
problems
of
with
the
their own
Rings.
syntax.
Yeah.
They need to use periods or commas.
Shelob, King of the Dead, Witch King. Well, let's not hang on it any more than we need to.
We set this up on Jersel's janky, broken Xbox, which was still working miraculously. I don't know if you want to put a poster or a picture of that in the fucking video of how your Xbox looked.
Oh, I breadboarded it. Which meant that I took it apart and just like let everything lie on the desk.
Yeah, we
And-
dissected the Xbox.
It was
and
the only
then,
way to get it to turn on. I think maybe its MOBO was failing, which is also why we were getting picture problems, which is you'll probably see in the Let's Play and the reference footage. But all the then that leads us, I guess, to the first negative point, which is I guess I technically can't say whether or not it is the game's fault or if it's my Xbox's fault. The blacks were so fucking crushed in this
Yeah.
game. We could not make out about 50% of the levels. And because of that, we couldn't see what we were doing. And because of that, obviously, it meant more tries than what was probably necessary on a correctly functioning game or Xbox. I don't know whose fault it was, but somebody fucked up, and I want my money back.
I want my money, Jackson. I want my fucking money.
Give me the fucking money.
It's probably somewhere in the middle. I don't think your Xbox did any favors. Also, the power saving modes on your TV didn't do any favors either. But I think the main issue was, I mean, the game design in general. I mean, there's a lot of shadows. There's a lot of dark corners.
Mordor is a dark place.
Yep. And when you're having issues with your Xbox, or if the game is designed to have such dark color palette, well, you're gonna lose your own character in these shadows a lot, and you're not gonna be able to tell the difference between, or see where the orc ends and the wall begins, for instance, in the shadow. And
Or
that's-
the gigantic pile of spiders that evaporates your health
oh my
instantaneously.
fucking
In an attempt to be
God.
fair, it does take place in a cave, which is supposed to be dark, but yeah, you still get lost in the mix just because of how fucking dark it is.
When I would walk into a shadow and then think, okay, I need a break from these spiders, and then I die from a clump of spiders in the corner. Let's see. Yeah, that's a great con, the lighting.
Well, it's moody. It's atmospheric.
Oh, certainly.
It's just not good for gameplay.
But it takes it too far to the point that it gets to the point where you can't see what the fuck you're doing, and that's not a good game design.
Well, some aspects about the game that I quite enjoyed. I liked playing the co-op aspects of it. I liked going in with my good pal Jersol and hopping through and wrecking some shop. I think we had a blast. We were a really good team. We did great work, and we're always cooperating with each other. And
You're really leaning into that we, aren't you?
At the royal we.
I feel like if you had tried to play this game by yourself, there wouldn't be an episode. It would just be you failing on level 1.
Keep your forked tongue behind your teeth, Virgio. No, yeah, I know. I wholeheartedly agree. I think that's actually one of my points.
Yeah.
Is that this is perhaps one of the best co-op experiences money can buy on the original Xbox.
It's up there.
Especially, it's kind of strange. I feel like, is there that many couch co-op titles on the Xbox that are worth a damn, other than maybe like the Battlefront series?
Well, like Halo 2, maybe.
Halo, I guess. It's up there, and it's like I feel like so few games get co-op right, and I feel like this game actually did a pretty fucking good job of that.
Absolutely.
For the most part, they distributed aggro between AI and players pretty well. Kind of like Army of Two in a lot of ways, where one person would end up aggroing
That's a good point.
several enemies, and they would have to
Good
block.
comparison, yeah.
And they would hold aggro while the other person would mow them down. This game is hell without co-op.
Oh,
I
God.
remember. Without having another person to help you out of those binds where you're completely surrounded, you end up just having to take a bunch of damage trying to swing your way out of it, because I liked it more that I was getting attacked from multiple angles.
Yes.
Like, it puts you in the experience more. It's like, if I'm surrounded, I'm gonna get fucking attacked from all sides. I need another one of my comrades to come and save the day, because I've gotten myself in a pickle that I wouldn't be able to get out of myself because of poor positioning.
Yeah, you can have Legolas raining some arrows down. You can have Aragorn come up there and slash around two swords and make shit happen. You can get your teammate out of a bind real quick because he's taking all the hits and you're over there ready to save the day. And then that's how you kind of progress through these levels. It's a pretty fun experience overall on that aspect with the gameplay, I would say. Now, occasionally, you run into some issues, some particular villains where they took that concept of the aggro and said, fuck that, find a new way. It's where they take some of that aggro and then turn it on its head, for instance, and then say, now you have to find a new way, like Shelob.
Okay, so let's give Shelob a little bit of context.
Oh, boy.
Shelob was, in my honest opinion, the most poorly designed enemy in the game.
Without a doubt.
Bar none. It moves about 3 to 4 times as fast as you do when it's sprinting around. It changes aggro on a dime for no reason, sometimes even mid-swing. You can't get combos off of it without taking some kind of damage, because it does this weird AoE, like, twitch attack.
It has one hell of a counterattack.
And
I'm pretty sure there's a shot we have where her aggro changes in a single frame.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where, like, her whole
flips.
body
It's
turns
ridiculous.
and attacks within like one frame difference.
It's
Yeah,
insane.
fucking 180s. There's a one part where her aggro changes multiple times in a span of like 3 seconds, where first the aggro is fixed on Sam, switches back to Mary, and then Mary tries to defend, and then immediately, as soon as it switches aggro to Mary, switches back again to Sam.
Back to Sam.
It's fucking ridiculous.
There and back again.
There and back again. All within 5 seconds that happens. It's ridiculous. It does this weird, like, jump attack that tries to crush you with its weight after it sends, like, 10 waves of spiders at you.
Yeah.
It's just horribly designed.
To give you an idea, one of my cons is simply Shelob is a cunt.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. She's a big, fat, hairy cunt.
The worst
Yeah.
kind.
With lots of legs. My least favorite kind of cunt. I like my cunts legless.
There's no rhyme or reason to who she attacks. It can be the lower health one, and she just starts bullying you into a corner. Or she starts stalking the one who might be trying to flank her. And then it just switches back on a dime there. And the fact that she can go into the camera, what is that, phase through the camera?
She body blocked the camera
Yep.
from us for like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
we were just staring at a big fat Shelob ass.
Yeah, it's
Hairy.
What you'll have to do, because I'm curious how it plays out, is to go against Shelob as one player instead of 2. See, that brings up one of the cons I had, is that it seemed like, and you professed this so many times, it seems like most of the skills that you can unlock are completely pointless.
Completely That is one of my cons too. Yeah.
Yeah.
The power-ups are dog shit for the most part. One example being like Orc Bane. That's one where you hit X to parry. You have to parry at the perfect time to where their blade connects, not unlike Dark Souls. And what it'll do is it'll disarm them and then throw them to the ground, and then you hit R to do a finisher. That takes about as much time and much more effort, because you have to get the parry timing right, as simply just hitting A, Y, or Q, or throw them to the ground, and then bam, finisher, done.
Yeah, or Cure was the one skill to rule them all, as you kept professing.
basically.
The one skill to rule them all.
Yeah, you talk about the power-ups and the skills, you know, how you get experience points and you have to spend them to gain those power-ups. The game gives you tens of thousands of XP points for power-ups that only cost a few thousand, but they're barred by levels. It's an odd sort of progression there.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't let you just buy them outright. You think the cost would be prohibitive enough. I don't understand why they needed to have it also barred behind levels.
It is an interesting system.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting is a word for it.
That's usually my go-to, where to me it's neither positive nor negative. It's just
Interesting.
what is this?
Es muy interesante. Or Cure is really all that you need, because it does one thing that a lot of the other ones don't, which is it can be used for any enemy. The problem that lies in a lot of the different power-ups that you can buy, such as Orc Bane or Bane of Sauron, is they all focus on one specific enemy type. Orc Bane, you can only use that against orcs.
Right.
If you're in a level full of Uruk-hai, you're kind of shit out of luck there unless you have Bane of Saruman. So it's useless. While I can use Orc Cure on spiders, orcs, Easterlings, champions. I wish they had Harads, but they don't. I guess they technically have Harads, because you kill the Mumakil, and they're on top of the Mumakil, the Oliphants.
Oh, yeah.
So they technically have
That's right.
Harads, but Haradrim, I think.
Nerd.
Something like that, yeah.
But yeah, it you can use Orc Cure on any manner of creature, and it'll work. It is the bread and butter. It is the thing that will actually power you through almost the entirety of the game. We were using it on fucking Smeagol.
Yeah, it's the Halo Magnum.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the
The
Halo
jack
Magnum.
of all trades.
But yeah, we were talking about the graphics earlier on, a little bit about Shelob and everything.
Yeah.
But the graphics are decent for 03 on Xbox.
Yeah.
In some aspects, I gotta specify here, because obviously it looks very much like a 2003 game, but some things hold up. I like the idea that you can walk over some of the dead bodies. There are scenes where the dead bodies are not just
Yeah, they have hitboxes. But that's environmental scenery, that's why.
right, of course. And the other part I liked about the graphics is when they would animate an entire transition into the movie using in-game graphics, which I thought was a nice little touch.
Seamless.
I mean, okay, it's a little crude at some parts.
I
I think there's a specific. What did you say, Annie? There's a troll scene where they are, or no, the tree is releasing the river.
Release the river.
Yeah, it looks kind of cartoony, and then the movie starts, and it's like, oh, I remember this scene. This is great. I remember this part of the movie.
Well, I mean, what weren't you saying, Spurgle, about how you thought that scene in the movie looked like a miniature?
Oh yeah, to me, there's just something about like the way the light hits the rocks that it's to me at least, it seemed pretty obvious that it was a miniature. It does a better job once it like pulls out a little bit and it's not so close to the fine detail.
You can tell it's a bathtub filling up. Yeah, that's yeah.
But that's
that's
more.
I think you're fine. I for one think you're fucking nuts. I think it looks awesome and epic, but I could see what you're saying with some of the water glops, and you can tell.
No, it definitely looks good. They did a great job on the miniatures and the bigatures. It's just you can tell for a few moments that they're dealing with a miniature.
Is that a name, a bigature?
Yeah, you don't remember that from the from like the little extra stuff they put on all the DVDs?
Oh, that's
for, like,
right.
That take up like 12 hours. They refer to them as
the
bigatures
Tower of
because
Barad-dûr and the Helm's Deep. Yeah, I guess so.
Like even though they're supposed to be like miniatures, some of them are like 12 and 13 feet tall. So they just called them bigatures.
Yeah. Well. Anyways, to bring it back from the bathtub of Isengard, the most sinister tub west of Edoras, I said this in the Shrek 2 Activity Center review, and I'll say it in this one. The benchmark for whether or not the graphics in a licensed video game are good up to par is how well does it mimic the art style, how much does it look like the intellectual property that it's hailing from. And I think this game, for the most part, does a really good job. I think it's one of those scenarios where the graphics that they did serve the kind of game that they made pretty well.
100%.
Because you're not going to be playing it like first person or even like third person. It's a top-down beat 'em up. So the camera's pulled pretty far back to the point where fine detail would be lost anyways. So it serves very well for a 2003 game that's licensed because of that. But as soon as you get any kind of cutscene that zooms in even just a little bit on those models, like Aragorn at the Black Gate looks like a fucking Cro-Magnon. He should be wielding a bone club, not Narsil the Unyielding.
Or that close up of Sam in the show.
Oh boy!
Laughing
And we kept laughing at that.
It looks
close
like the girl that says I'm gonna die in Spider-Man or whatever when she's about to blow up. You know that one in the Spider-Man game where Spider-Man's about to rescue this girl in that lab. It's burning in the lab.
And he does a face plant.
I'm gonna die! Bang! She looks like him, or he looks like her.
It was so comedically timed that. Oh, speaking of another pro, the comedic timing of that one part where you completely eat it from the bridge collapsing in Cirith Ungol. That is the hardest I think I've laughed at a video game
Oh my
in
god.
years.
That was insta death.
That was insta, because usually they have it where the game after you die does like kind of like what Jak 2 does, where when you die, it's just
Yeah, it goes
like a little
yeah.
Undertale.
Yeah.
fades to black and kind of has that blur effect.
Right, where it fades to black, starts to blur out the screen. The main menu, the game over screen starts coming into the fold.
Don't give up, stay determined,
right.
Shit like that.
The music starts decrescendoing.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that at all for that death. It's just
Pop-up screen.
yeah, dead.
Dead.
You died.
You want to try again? You dead. There's almost no other place in the game that you can fall.
None.
So I don't know if they really programmed like fall deaths correctly. So I think what they did is they put this what's called a kill plane, where it's this invisible hitbox that's usually placed in areas where the player is not supposed to go. And the thing is, I think they placed it a little too high. So
Yeah.
it's
As soon as the floor gives out.
As soon as
you
the floor
cross
gives
the
out,
threshold.
it's
into
1
the
foot. It's just like a foot below the bridge. You hit it, Game over. That's it.
Dead screen.
Dead screen.
I like how that's
yeah.
a pro.
Because it's fucking hilarious.
It's fucking classic.
That was the funniest part of the entire Let's Play.
Yeah.
Honestly, because that just completely takes you by surprise.
Oh, yeah.
There's no reason for us to guess that bridge should
give out.
collapse.
Yeah.
It's like at least Dark Souls has it where the bridge before the dragon is full of charred bodies, so you're like, oh.
Something's up here.
Yeah, something's up here if you're paying attention.
Yeah.
I think all it was that the bridge was just
Collapsing.
No, it was like slightly crumbled on the edges, I guess.
Oh, yeah, no, there was no indication beforehand. Yeah, it was just a little crumble.
Just a little crumble, you know, but like everything was kind of desiccated there because it's an old Gondorian outpost.
Yeah, it's Osgiliath, right? That's where we were?
No, it's Cir Thungol.
Oh, it is Cir Thungol. That's right.
It's the watch post right next to Minas Morgul.
That's right.
Which used to be Minas Ithil.
Oh.
We also weren't sure what triggered the bridge collapse, whether or not it was firing the arbalest or just merely stepping on it. So
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
When you guys did it again, you had to make sure, like, okay, we both have to go on the bridge at the same time.
We got to stick together on this.
Yes, or else we're going to have to fucking start the entire level all over again.
Which we did.
Yes. So
that brings me to one of my cons, if you don't mind me stepping in here.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that there's absolutely no checkpoints.
That was one of my cons too.
That's a big con.
Yeah.
That's a big.
I'm glad
one.
we're all nailing our big note on this one.
Especially when you get to that awful cunt that is Shelob. Like, if you will die to her, it just sends you back all the way to the beginning of the stage, and you have to do it all again. Like, that's incredibly frustrating.
It's a marathon. Yeah.
If you're gonna have long levels and then do a boss fight, be kind enough to put in like a checkpoint where you just fight the boss.
Yeah, what is this, fucking Battletoads? It's like it's ridiculous. It's like a full 15 years after the fact that like arcades were quarter munchers, and this game's treating the player like it's going to give it quarters.
I've had some arcade games that are nicer to me than that. Time Crisis 4 fucking checkpoints me right before some of those final boss battles. But this says, nah, you got all day, don't you? Come on, you bought this game.
You're a fucking fat loser that watches Lord of the Rings.
You
of course you got nowhere else to go.
Get on back up here. Come on, start the level again. Go
Get
ahead.
back in that saddle.
Go ahead.
I'd like to bring up a new point, and I have it as a con. Is that the difficulty spikes. It doesn't have like a smooth curve. It doesn't have a linear path. It's just, this level's more difficult, so it spikes up in difficulty.
Yeah.
Oh, but this level's, it's just like a horde mode, and there's no bosses, so it's much easier.
That is what people would like to call a casual filter, okay?
Oh, is that what it is?
A casual filter. It means that the people that do not have the time nor the dedication, skill, or determination will not be able to proceed.
That's
Thank
fine,
you
but
very
it's
much.
weird when you have like a spike in difficulty level 2, and then level 3 it's so much easier. Like that's weird. You want the difficulty to kind of progress, and so your skills go up.
It's a con.
It's definitely a con. It's called a difficulty curve, not a difficulty spike. A difficulty spike means that you didn't balance your game correctly, and that's exactly it.
Yeah.
They didn't do a crescendo of difficulty, because the whole reason why a difficulty curve is in place is because it's supposed to mimic a learning curve.
Yes.
You're supposed to be learning the different mechanics of the game and then using those skills in order to progress harder and harder facets of the game. But the thing is, if they front load the difficulty like they did in a few sections, it means that not only do you not have the skills to progress, in our case, you don't have the equipment to progress.
Right.
Shelob's Lair was the second level. There's only 3 levels in the Hobbit path. It was the second, well, technically 4, I guess, if you count the Crack of Doom. But it's only the second level in the Hobbit path, which means that you're probably only level 2 maybe 3.
You only have 1 level worth of experience points to gain. Only 1 level before Shelob worth of power-ups to buy.
Well, it's fucking crucial because the health upgrade, I think, is either level 3 or level 4. We didn't get that because we only did 1 level.
So we kept getting absolutely shreked during that Shelob cave.
We didn't have enough health.
Because we didn't have enough health.
Yeah, and that the level before that is one where you're supposed to be moving quickly, so you don't really have time to get a lot of kills to build up that experience.
Right. So they kind of, I guess the game just expects you to grind Osgiliath a couple of times in order for you to get enough experience to actually suffice in Shelobs.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't. It's not good game design. I don't. That might tie into the point that I made originally about it, is that we were supposed to be using a game mechanic that we just weren't using, which is invisibility.
Okay.
But for Gollum, I actually think that he is a pretty dang good final boss. I know that may seem a little controversial with how janky it looks and feels, but it does what a final boss should do. Which, let me hear me out on this, is that it's the final test. It tests you on all of the mechanics you've learned up to that point. So, first, do you know positioning? So do you know positioning well enough to where you can place yourself next to the edge, Virgio?
Hey! Yeah.
2, it also quizzes you on parrying, where you need to block because his attacks move fast and they are unpredictable. So you need to be blocking pretty constantly throughout the fight until you find the proper opening. 3, it quizzes you on normal and heavy attacks to where you need to get normal attacks quick and fast in order to knock him off of his balance and get him closer to the edge, and then heavy attacks in order to send him over the edge once he goes off balance. Or alternately, in order to do it even quicker, the game can pop quiz you on simply just kicking him with the B button in order to send him off the edge. And then, finally, it quizzes you once more with, do you remember what a finisher is? And so, you use the finisher on his hands in order to get him off. That is pretty damn good game design. It quizzes you on almost every single button in the game, which is, I think, pretty cool. Could have been executed maybe a little bit better, but I think that the idea is there, and I think that it's a hell of a lot better than some final bosses in other licenses.
I'll give that credit. Yeah, I think the idea is there. I think it's just overshadowed by Shelob and harder bosses that come beforehand, or other harder final levels. You can't conquer Rainbow Road and then move on to Baby Park after that, and then say, even though I think Baby Park's a fine level, but I do see what you're saying. It is, it does make sure that you employ everything that you've learned from the past several hours of playing, which I think is good. It does make for a good final level.
I think that one of the reasons why they didn't try to go for a straight up health bar fight where you're just you know, attacking him and whittling down his health bar is that they force you to play as Frodo, who's level 1. You don't get to play as him prior. So I think the design team was probably thinking, we need it to be canonical. We need it to be where it's Frodo and Sam.
Right.
But Frodo is going to be level 1 because we don't play as him in Osgiliath or Shelob's Lair or Cirith Ungol. So let's have a fight that's designed rather than around a health bar, rather about the mechanics themselves and the execution thereof. So I can see the through line. I can see why they went with what they did.
Right.
It is great that they got the original cast. It's not so great how well they acted. As we were making fun of with Frodo in The Crack of Doom, a rather disinterested, blasé performance, I'd say.
You're possessed, Smeagol. I've never seen you so fast. I don't know what it takes to get rid of you. You give me that back. Biting my finger off won't stop me.
My God, he's running around so fast.
I've never seen you like this, Smeagol.
So possessed.
He's like borderline amazed at what he's seeing.
Yeah.
He's like, whoa, like impressed. Not really amazed because that would be too emotive, but it really kind of just, wow, look at you. Look at you go, Smeagol.
Finally, you can walk again. It's a perfect example of that not all actors make great voice actors.
The movie performance was better.
Yes.
But it cannot stay in the Shire.
The voice acting, not so much.
It takes so much imagination to be a voice actor because you have to make everything around you in your head as you're doing the performance because you're talking to a fucking mic, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah. So Elijah Wood phoned it in. He's not the best voice actor.
I don't know if phoned it in. I don't know how well maybe he acted his heart out and he just doesn't have what it takes to become a voice actor. I don't know. Maybe it was an off day for him. Who the fuck knows? It just wasn't a very good performance. If we're gonna move on, yes, let's move on to
I
mine.
do have another con.
Okay.
The camera positioning. You know, if you have
Stinks.
teammate, if you're co-op friend, if you're Sam and you're trying to chase after him as Mary, and Sam wanders a little too far away from you, and
That kind of sounds like a you problem.
no,
Virgil.
you get stuck behind holes, you get stuck behind walls, you get stuck behind rocks.
You know what's so funny is I never had that issue.
Oh, please.
I wonder why.
Oh, come on. Oh, well, you did kill me by going too far. If we can replay that bridge sequence on repeat here real quick.
a bridge too
I
far.
mean, come on.
And
No,
there
it's
was a few times you got stuck on Aragorn, where Aragorn was
He
just
body
blocking your
blocked
path.
us. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, it's some of the AI issues on that front, but I'm mostly just speaking on the camera positioning, where if you go just a little too far, you can get stuck in certain corners, and I guess that's just the limitation of a top-down side-scroller kind of thing like that.
Well, it's also tied to co-op. You wouldn't have those
Yes,
issues.
of
if
course.
you're
You wouldn't
playing
have
by
those
yourself.
issues.
Right, it's co-op
It's the co-op issue.
It's a feature, a co-op exclusive feature.
Ah,
Parries are infinite, so not much incentive to not block indefinitely. It's weird. I'm not really sure. Maybe you can hold X in order to block. I don't think so, though. I think it just does one parry animation. So in order to properly block in this game, you have to just mash the X button. I don't know why they didn't just make it so you could hold X in order to block indefinitely. If they wanted it to where you had to time your parry in order to get a block off, I can understand that, but then they would need some kind of buffer between button inputs, so that way you couldn't just mash it so fast that you're invincible. So I'm not sure what they were trying to go for that, but it could have been executed a little better. Horrible animations in some parts. Virgil pointed out he had the entire room hushed for when Eowyn threw down her armor when she faces the Nazgul. That is probably some of the worst animation I've seen in a 3D game in a long time. It is fucking bad.
she says emphatically, "I am no man." Throws her helmet down in a robotic sort of fashion, right? She takes it and just left elbow straight down to the ground. Boom.
She throws her shield and her helmet down.
She disrobes.
Within about like half a second.
Yeah, shield, helmet, just like in the movie.
We'll show it real time. Yeah, it looks like a vaudeville, like fast forward. So another con that's been one that plagued us for the entirety of the game, but especially in Shelob's Lair, health potions are necessary to proceed a lot of times, because there was many times there was clutch moments where we were just about to die and a health potion drops at just the right time, and oh my god, my savior, the green delicious liquid. It looks like the fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ooze in a jar.
Yes.
Give it to me.
The sacred TMNT cum.
Yeah, fucking Shredder's cum.
I don't think
little-
that's canon.
The Shredder cum jars that would drop out of the Urukai buttholes.
Just like in the movie.
Yeah,
For New Line Cinemas, Lord of the Rings.
for Harvey Weinstein.
For Harvey Weinstein's Lord of the Rings. You know, did you know that, just a fun fact, this is a total non sequitur, but a fun fact, during Two Towers, Viggo Mortensen actually broke his toe
Yes.
kicking Harvey Weinstein's hard dick.
His calcified penis.
Well, Harvey would come on set, and obviously, you know, the Kate Blanchett, Liv Tyler, you know, they're the hottest actress of the late 90s, just on set, chilling out, and, you know, Harvey gets hard, and Viggo didn't want to have any of that. And, you know, that yell in the scene was real.
Yeah, that was actually Harvey
That was
Weinstein's
Harvey's yell,
that
and
they dubbed in.
They had to dub it in because Vigo broke his toe and was actually screaming out, "Fuck me, man! Why is your dick so hard?" And Harvey was like, "Ah."
Actually, a real piece of trivia is, I think the orc's name is Gothmog. He actually is modeled after Harvey Weinstein because of how much Peter Jackson fucking hated dealing with him.
The age of consent is over.
Why was he always putting like Peter Jackson in a corner while masturbating? Is that what was going on?
He was probably interfering with all the creative choices that Peter Jackson was doing because Peter Jackson's a fucking nerd.
See, I was going for a joke, but all right.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's re-record that, shall we?
No.
Please do. No, do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
No,
do it
not
again. Do
doing
it
it
again. No,
again.
I
No,
stomped
no.
all over it. You got to do it again.
No,
It wasn't. It was an accident. You got to do it again.
We got to move on. All right, we're done with Weinstein. We were talking about something. What was it? Potions. That's right. The delicious, flowing, viscous, green, jelly-like shredder ooze. The undulating gelatinous.
All right. What's your point?
There's two things. One, there's no set way to actually get the health to spawn, so you cannot plan for health drops.
Yeah,
It's
it looked
completely
entirely
random. Completely random. And so you were entirely at the whims of RNG. RNGesus. Which Tolkien would shake his finger at, because no Christian allegory in my mythos. Because it was completely random, you couldn't plan for it, and so you were at the whims of RNGesus anytime you wanted to complete a level. If we did not get those clutch health drops when we were fighting Shelob, we would have totally lost.
We'd be playing it to this day.
We'd still be playing it. We were just we just barely scratched by. And another thing is that the hitboxes on the health is really fucking weird.
Oh god.
There were times where I needed health and Virgio would kill something and then it dropped health and I would be closer to it than Virgio would be. He'd be like 20 feet away. He'd be on the other side of the world and I'd be right next to it, just trying to scrape it off the ground like a Dickensian beggar trying to get a silver sterling. And
my magnet asshole would take all that green cum from you.
Yeah, all the shredder cum would just go directly to this guy over here.
Yeah. Which I liked, but didn't make for a good time for Jersel, who was in the red.
Pro for me, con for you.
It just so happened that every single time there was a health drop, it was from something you killed.
That's right.
I don't know why.
I don't know. You just get good.
So I think the health potions definitely needed a rework. Or maybe it was like maybe you could get a certain amount of health from getting a kill. Maybe there was a power up you could buy that would allow you to, like, in perfect mode, grab health on kills. I don't know. Yeah. It just, there needed to be another method to regen health other than randomly dropped health potions. Like, there was a handful of times, and I think they were all in the Hobbit levels, where there was preset health drops, where there would be, like a red potion in like this leg of the level, a green one. Like there was the green one in the corner in Kirith Ungol. There was the red one that was...
Sometimes you could pick them up.
Osgiliath.
Sometimes.
But as was brought up, like they brought in the actual voice actors.
Yes, they did.
And to me, what they did here was they did a very good integration with the movie. To me, what a licensed game is about is you're taking this IP and you're translating it into a video game. And to me, they did a very good job of like integrating the story, the characters, the scenes into the movie.
Yes.
By playing this game, you are actually tied to the movie itself. You're going along with the characters. You're seeing the arcs that they portray. And to me, this is exactly what a licensed game should do. There's so many other licensed games where they go off and it's like alternate universe, or even worse, when it has absolutely nothing to do whatsoever with the original IP.
Right.
So cough, Shadow of Mordor.
So to me, this does an excellent job of being a licensed game.
I agree. This has always been to me, since I played this game as a wee lad. This has always been to me the benchmark. That
this is the gold standard of licensed games.
I know we've been shitting on it for
Well,
But
there are
it's-
some cons.
There
but
are definitely some cons.
It's
It's
not a-
rough around the edges.
Is it a great game? No, it's pretty darn good licensed game.
Exactly, and then that's what this channel's about, is picking out, like, if you are a fan of Lord of the Rings, this is not a bad one.
Not at all.
No.
I could think of several bad Lord of the Rings games. For example, some people might disagree with me, but Lord of the Rings, The Third Age, bleh. That's a Final Fantasy RPG clone, and you don't play as any of the Fellowship. You play as some bumblefuck elf, some weird Gondorian that, you know, has memory problems, and then a dwarf. And it's like, wait, we're playing as the exact same races as the Fellowship, but we're not playing as the Fellowship? We're just watching the Fellowship have fun while we do all the boring work?
You play as the B team that hid in the shadows.
That is exactly it. You would have a conniption, Virgio, if you saw this game. How anachronistic it is. You help Gandalf fight the Balrog on the bridge of Khazad-dûm.
Help him.
Yes, he becomes a member of your team during the Balrog fight, and you fight the Balrog on the bridge.
Oh my.
And like, if he
Sounds
dies, you are fucked, because he's the only one that can actually do proper damage. And it's like, I don't know why they didn't just have you play as Gandalf against the Balrog.
Well, I would say this is probably one of the best video games off of movies I've played personally, and I've played a good handful.
I played a lot.
Yeah, I've played a solid amount of video games based on movies, not video games that were also, you know, made into movie franchises. But I think this might be, at least for me in my generation, one of the best video game movies that I had seen ever released. At least during childhood, I remember this filling the streets of
Compton.
filling the streets of Compton, filling the shelves of Blockbusters everywhere. I think this really turned out to be something good in the licensed amateur gaming world.
All right, well then let's go to our summarization. Is this a game that you would recommend to people?
I would.
Do we love it or hate it?
Yeah, what do we say for this?
I like it.
That's not one of the options.
Yeah, it's love, hate, or mixed.
I love this game. I think I give this game a love.
This
because
sounds like Stockholm Syndrome.
No, I think I
it
give
sounds
this-
like somebody has a gun up to
look,
your
I
head.
have a lot of, obviously we talked a lot about the cons in this game, but the pros that we said, I think really do stand out. This is a game that I have, obviously nostalgia sort of paints my perspective, but I do have fond memories of seeing this game, having friends play this game that I watched play, and playing it now. I had a fun time on co-op with my friend Jersel and Spurgle. So I would recommend this game to any hardcore nerds out there that want to play an old school Lord of the Rings game, or just have a thing for licensed games like we poor sorry ass low life motherfuckers do.
Or if you not so much have a thing for licensed games, but if you have a thing for a genre that's pretty much all dead now, but 3D hack and slashers.
Yeah. Don't expect an open world sort of discovery or anything. It's very linear. It paints the path for you, which is fine. It's a little short, but
It's very arcadey. It's an
arcadey feeling game.
Yeah, which is like, you know, if you feel like frustrating yourself over an afternoon and a half, then yeah, by all means. I would say that I love this game, but there's a big asterisk that it's not for everyone. It's a game that's really designed for me and no one else. Fuck all of you.
It's a great review.
I really like the fact that it is unyielding and as hard as it is in some ways. I really like the fact that it's based off of one of my favorite intellectual properties,
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. I would say that, yes, I love this, but I would only recommend it to people that are either huge Lord of the Rings nerds that actually want to see all of the different interviews that you could probably already look up on YouTube, or someone that really likes 3D hack and slash games. This one's actually a pretty solid beat 'em up. Just know that there's a lot of
There's some bullshit you gotta
there's
wade
some
through.
bullshit you gotta wade through. It's rough around the edges.
Yeah, even though I didn't play this game, I would say that it gets a love from me. Watching you guys play it, I wish we could have done like the pass-off controllers when someone dies. I wanted to play this with you, Jersel. I'm disappointed. I'm off in... Where am I? I'm off in Vietnam and cannot play with you. I would have
Well,
loved to play this with you.
You technically have played it with me.
You want to play it with Jersil, not Vergio, just so everyone knows.
Well, I actually want to progress to the game. I don't want to get
Yeah,
stuck
that makes
in
sense.
one level and go nowhere.
No. He's the ringer. He's the ringer for Shelob.
That's right.
Oh,
He
okay,
did better in Shelob.
I kicked ass.
Okay, I'll play with you for Shelob's Lair. Well, the
I got
Shelob
you.
boss.
Yeah, just the boss. Just the boss. And
Just the boss.
yeah, I guess that's 3 loves for us, or from all of us here at Licensed Amateur Gaming. Thanks so much for hearing us out.
We're still going to title this "Why We Hate Lord of the Rings: Return of the King," so that way we can get as many views as possible.
Oh, absolutely.
It's called clickbait, baby.
Ha
Oh, yeah.
sucker. You got all the way to the end to find out that it's all a lie.
You
Yeah.
thought we hated this fucking game, and we love it.
It's a 3 love scenario. It's going to be rare on this channel, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I want my money back.